Welcome inside our New York studios. Brent Stover alongside Kevin Carter and Cardale Jones. One of the storylines in week number 14, the final Saturday of the regular season, the Miami Hurricanes trying to make one last stand and get to the college football playoff. They were on the road against the Pitt Panthers. Pitt still trying to get in to the ACC title game. Mason Heinschel, Justin Holmes is open. Panthers 7-3. Miami looking to respond. Carson Beck, the out route. Malachi Tony, great one-handed catch, 19 yards. Hurricanes move the chains.
Yeah, 3 plays later, Tony on the direct snap, running right, throwing to an open Elijah Lofton for the touchdown. Hurricanes up 10-7. Now the next Miami possession, Beck throwing left, and it's Tony again. The touchdown grab, 22 yards. Hurricanes up 17-7 at the half. Second half, Miami driving again. Looking impressive today. Mark Fletcher up the middle, punches it in. Hurricanes up 24-7.
All Miami all day as Pringle Jr. gets through that line of scrimmage. And guess what, guys? No one is going to touch him for a pretty long time. 38 yards for the true freshman as the Hurricanes continue to move the ball with ease. Later that drive, play action pass. Beck drops back and finds Brown, and he scores this one from 9 yards out. Hurricanes running away with this one 31-7 and put the icing on the cake. 50 seconds left. Beck finds his favorite target, C.J. Daniels, for the great catch, and Miami wins this one 38-7.
This was complete domination. With that win, obviously Miami is in the clubhouse now at 10-2, 6-2 in the ACC. It would take a lot of things for them to end up in the conference championship game. For the purposes of our conversation, let's say they are not going to get into the ACC title game. Pitt, by the way, eliminated from contention here as well. For our purposes, let's say they are done at 10-2 with those 2 losses, but obviously a head-to-head win over Notre Dame. You've got Carson Beck, one of the hottest quarterbacks in the country, basically at an 80% clip in the last 4 games after that loss to SMU November 1st. The eye test would tell you this is a CFP team. Does the entire body of work, the entire resume tell you that, Kevin?
It's hard to say that with definitive certainty either way, because you can say that this team is playing its best football of the year. Pringle, Tony, all those guys on the ground and in the air, with Beck playing his best football. Yes, you can say they are the team because they put up, they're 10-2. They have the resume. They have wins over Notre Dame. These things look better and better. But when you look at the fine print, okay, and you look at that little stretch midway through the season in a 3-week period where you drop 2 games, one to unranked Louisville and then to SMU a few weeks later, you don't look like this team. You're not dominating the line of scrimmage in the fashion that you had the last couple of weeks. That's what people are going to look at. They're going to take this Miami team and they're going to say, look, the committee's been showing us each week that only one team out of the ACC, possibly the ACC champion, is going to make it in just because of there being room in this crazy game of musical chairs that's the college football playoff. But Miami, I say yes. I say they give them a chance, but it's hard to basically put them past a bunch of other 10-2 teams around the country, be it in the SEC or the Big Ten, having that stretch in the middle of the season, having lost to an unranked Louisville.
Yeah, this is tough because after the Florida State game, we saw Miami go out there and really put a whooping on Florida State. We looked at the rest of their schedule and we said, hey, this is poised for Miami to have a cakewalk to the ACC championship game and clearly to the college football playoffs if they were even to win or lose that game the way Georgia Tech, we was on clash course for Georgia Tech versus Miami, in which we all wanted when we started to see about week 4 or 5 of the season. But eye test, yes, they're playing their best football at the right times, but you got to look at that resume. Yeah. Those 2 losses, as Kevin alluded to, 2 losses in 3 weeks versus teams that you are on paper a lot better than. That don't help your argument, and then needing a lot of things to happen the rest of the day to go your way to have a berth in the ACC championship game. Eye test, one of the best teams in the country right now. Yes. Is the resume going to be strong enough to get them that bid? I don't think so.
By the way, Cristobal becomes the first Hurricanes coach since Larry Coker in 2002 and 2003 to have 2 double-digit win seasons. He said after the game, we are a playoff team. We've all seen it. We all know it. Obviously, he's doing the right thing. He's got a stump for his guys. He believes they have an opportunity to win a national title if they can just get in the field of 12. Talked about Carson Beck, 23 of 29, 267. Again, in the last 4 games, he's been sensational. 80% the last 3 games coming into this one. This was a dominant effort on the road, 38-7, against a team that was previously in the hunt to play for the ACC title. I would say this, Cardale. They beat Notre Dame head-to-head. If Notre Dame gets in and Miami does not, and you compare the 2 schedules, if I'm a Hurricane fan, I would be extremely upset.
I would understand that. I mean, I think you can make an argument for both of those teams right now because you look at the remaining schedule or you look at the schedule that Notre Dame faced as well, and you could have made the same type of arguments and looked after the A&M loss, which they easily could have won that game, and say they should cruise the rest of the way of the season. And what did they do? They completely dominated the rest of the way of the season, which they were supposed to do when you look at the opponents they had to face. Miami was in that same position. Now, when you're trying to compare their head-to-head just because they beat them and what you did the rest of the season, then it really don't compare because Notre Dame took care of their business, Miami didn't. So the argument is there, but I would, in this situation, if I'm the CFP, I'm giving Notre Dame a nod over Miami.
Wow. And the only other thing that we have not discussed is the unsaid things in the room, kind of the elephant in the room, okay? It's about the strength of your conference. It's about the significant representation within the top 25. Georgia Tech has been, to Cardell's point, has been carrying the torch for the ACC, and we were all rooting for them because, hey, we're saying that Miami might need, or the ACC might need another credible game at the end of the season to help the conference because you didn't have an ACC team ranked higher than about 13th or 14th the entire season. Right. So that strength of schedule, that strength of conference, when you're comparing yourself to how many teams you're going to get into the college football playoff, it matters how strong your conference stacks up against the other conferences. The model they've been showing us, there's only room for one ACC team, only one room for a group of 5 champion, only room for one Big 12 champion. These things aren't going to be unseated or taken off the board until you can show otherwise. And that's what we're alluding to in terms of strength of schedule, body of work, how you compare it conference-wise.
We showed the highlights of Carson Beck, Malachi Tony, 13 receptions, 126. I would submit this. There is not a more talented team going for a playoff spot right now than the Miami Hurricanes, for whatever the heck that's worth.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a team right now that looked at just like Notre Dame. You don't want them to get in here in the final hour because they're hitting their stride at the right time. And let's be honest, Miami can line up and play with the best of them all around college football. They just had those 2 slip-ups in 3 weeks in the mid part of the season. That's probably going to leave them on the outside looking in. But you're talking about talent-wise, and you're talking about the way they're playing at this point on offense and defense, I would argue they're the best team that's probably going to get left out of college football playoffs.
Head-to-head has to mean something, doesn't it, guys? They beat Notre Dame. Head-to-head has to, on the field, has to mean something, does it not?
A little bit.
I'm being told we're done. There's the music. So long for now.